I need people who have read this book to stop calling it a filler book. Now, don't get me wrong, we are midpoint through this series. This book has a lot of information in it, and there are things that don't seem to move the plot forward. I get that. But I hate seeing so many people talk about this book saying that it should have been 300 pages less than it was. My personal opinion, this book is the best book in the series so far, and let me tell you why. Without giving away any spoilers for this book, I will say that we get a lot of really great world building in this book and answers to questions that a lot of people have been theorizing. Now, if you're not in the theorizing crowd and you don't want to overanalyze this book, have annotated copies, have multiple copies of this book, then maybe this type of book where you get a lot of world building and information thrown at you is not for you. For the rest of us, we were eating this up. I also feel like this book had a lot more of the Fourth Wing vibes. It was a little bit more lighthearted. Not that these books are lighthearted to begin with, but there was a little bit more lightheartedness in this book compared to Iron Flame that reminded me a little bit more of Fourth Wing. Things that we get in this book that I absolutely love. Sassy Dragons, great banter between characters. New characters that some of us have been theorizing would show up at some point, and a look into the world that we have not seen yet. I also feel like we get Xaden in a way we haven't seen Xaden yet, and there's a lot of development in the relationship between Xaden and Violet that a lot of us were really hoping would happen in Iron Flame and didn't, but we are starting to see in Onyx Storm. Personally, I felt like this book was medium to fast-paced. There were times where if you were not into certain things that were happening, to keep it vague, you might find it slow. But those things were moving the plot forward and moving the world forward, in my opinion, which I think made it great. One of the things that I find very important in a longer series, in order for the series to be good, is that the character development of the secondary characters needs to be very strong. You need to like the other characters in the book aside from the main male character and main female character. You read contemporary romance, you're not getting the side characters. It's all about the main characters, whoever the love interest is. And this book is not like Harry Potter by any means, but I do want to compare it in the way that I loved so many of the side characters in Harry Potter. I liked Neville. I enjoyed the depth of Snape's character. You fall in love with Dumbledore. Dobby. I cried at Dobby. And it's not just Ron, Hermione, and Harry. You have Luna Lovegood, who I named my cat after. That is the quality of side characters that I feel like we saw in Onyx Storm. As Rebecca continued to develop the characters more, I just continued to love more and more of them and enjoyed learning about them, seeing their personalities on page, and also learning more about the power that they hold. I will say this is a very dense book. The font is very small. It takes forever to read. I read for like 2 days straight in order to finish this book, 2 solid days. So it is a long read. It is also a very detailed book. So this is not one where you want to just be a passenger princess. You want something just to go off of vibes alone. This is not it. Also, if you haven't read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame for a while and you want to jump into this, I recommend doing a reread or listening to the audiobook. The graphic audio is amazing. Or finding a guide online to at least help you with the character names, because there's a lot of characters in this book and Rebecca hits the ground running, giving you those characters. And if you don't know their first names and their last names, it's going to get really confusing really fast. So if you don't want to be confused, you're going to need a refresher. I got the deluxe special edition, so I love the edges. Absolutely love the cover of this book. It is gorgeous. And personally, I recommend reading Onyx Storm. It is currently my favorite book in the Empyrean series.